Om Sadashivasamarampham Shankaracharyamadhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Okay. So we saw the 34th verse last time, up to the 34th verse. Any questions, clarifications before I go ahead? Okay. It ended by saying Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. The means for knowing the truth. Shastra is a pramana. The Shastra requires an explanation. Therefore, the Guru comes into the picture. Because it is the methodology of teaching that matters. Truth is simple. Your limitless consciousness. Or kya? Baat ho gaya. But what is limitlessness? How it is, the whole thing. All that is a big story. And through finite words, you are revealing the infinite truth. That is where the whole thing lies. Through finite words, you have to reveal infinite truth. So, the whole question of handling the words, the logic behind all that thing comes into the picture. So, that's why a live teacher is necessary. Even if it is on Zoom. That's why your Guru cannot be, you cannot say like some Vyasa is my Guru. Yeah, Vyasa is Guru of Gurus for all of us. That's a different thing. Guru Purnima is his birthday celebration. So, okay. That is a different thing. But for me to know the truth, I need that live teaching. Vyasa may have been the greatest, but I need the latest. Yeah, who's there to communicate with me? This is a Leon Swing statement, okay? After he defeated an aging Muhammad Ali, he said, Muhammad Ali was the greatest, but I am the latest. Okay. Oh, that way. Live teaching, okay? Yeah. Keeping that in mind, then he says, all right, fine. What is the result of knowing the truth? Okay? Then he says, Yad jnatva na punarmoham evam yasasi pandavaha yena bhutani asheshena drakshasi atmana yathamayi. Says Yad jnatva, having known which, na punarmoham evam yasasi pandava. Hey Pandava, you are not going to be deluded about who you are again. You may be deluded about some tax laws, etc. That's a different thing. Those are practical things in life. But he says about who you are, what you are, the nature of reality, that you will not get deluded. And he says what? You will see everything in yourself as now how you see everything in me. Meaning, we see everything is in Ishvara. That's the first level of understanding. Okay? That is, at least theoretically speaking, easy. Why? Oh, Bhagavad is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam, the individual material and efficient cause for the whole thing. So, for everything is manifestation of Ishvara. Then, of course, you have to understand that Ishvara is nothing but Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And that means there is not different from me. Then when the understanding is complete, you will say everything is in Ishvara. That even a Bhakta says. But then everything is in Ishvara, I am consciousness, everything is in me as well. That is the final step of the understanding. Only when I can say that and mean it is the knowledge complete. Because I am consciousness, existence consciousness. And the whole universe is what? Manifestation of existence consciousness. That's it. So that will remain, that will depend upon how much you identify with the body and mind. Functioning through the body and mind may require a strong identification. which is not a problem. Take a racing car driver, for example. The way he is strapped down to the car inside, okay, and the way he drives, the car and him are one. The way he is strapped down, everything. The way ancient warriors used a sword. Okay. The sword and their hand is one. In fact, the prana shakti from you extends through the hand into the sword. If you're a really highly skilled warrior, this is what happens. So, but that much of identification only helps functioning. If the sword is broken, they don't say, I am broken. They'll pick up another sword. They'll pick up another sword. Yeah. The car meets with an accident, he'll walk away. Hopefully. Okay. So, for the sake of functioning, if you are identified, that is not an issue. The issue is how much you take the body and mind as yourself. How much you limit yourself to the body and mind. Or have you had that shift in understanding that you are nothing but pure consciousness? This is where the owning up of the knowledge, etc. comes in. Making it a fact of your day-to-day life. So in the beginning, you will look at the learning in the light of your experiences. In the light of your experiences, you look at this knowledge. That's correct. This is correct. That's why all the examples will be worldly examples. Why? Because in the light of your experience, you have to understand this knowledge. Later, in the light of the knowledge, you look at your experiences. Ulta. You will reverse the process. Okay? You will reverse the process, and in the light of the knowledge, you look at your life. That completes the whole picture then. Yeah. Because how you interpret things. It is like let us say you're sitting down over a cup of tea and someone says, my stomach is not feeling. Each one hears the same statement, my stomach is not feeling right. Each person's reaction is in what they use, what is behind that in their mind. Most people say, "But you ate too much of what?" You overeat. That is universal worldly thing. Did you overeat? A doctor may ask for more symptoms. Okay. An allopathic doctor will look at it differently. Ayurvedic doctor will say, what happened? Your vayu is off or something? Okay. So each person is looking at life with the knowledge that they have. Isn't it true? So same way. Okay. How do you look at life? Has this knowledge colored your life enough, seeped into your mind enough to look at the whole thing in the light of the knowledge? Samji, then it's all a question of perspective. No? Which is the right perspective? Which is the right perspective will depend upon as far as the worldly knowledge is concerned, will depend upon what is your function. Here we are talking about realities. So now look at it. A person who knows the truth will see everyone as consciousness, not different from themselves. But supposing he is a doctor, he will still look, when the person is saying, I have a stomachache, from the standpoint of his medical knowledge, isn't it? Therefore, there is a base knowledge that everything is one. Second, the vyavaharic functioning knowledge. Then the pratibhasika also can come in. Not only vyavaharika functioning, pratibhasika also can come in. You are met for a meal, they are serving some dishes. Oh, that I like. Will happen. It's like in a buffet, does everyone attack the same thing? No. There's always a pick and choose. Well, that's how your pratibhasika, your personal likes and dislikes, affecting your functioning. So most of us are functioning at the level of vyavaharika and pratibhasika. Worldly knowledge, practical things, the roles that we play, okay, and pratibhasikam, subjective, what I like, don't like, my bias, etc. My ideologies, all these pratibhasika. Okay. I am liberal, right wing, leftist. Personal ideologies, isn't it? So these are the two levels we are all functioning in all the time. A wise person also has these two levels. Bias, etc. may be less. Okay. But likes and dislikes can be there. No? Meaning, narrow down to just a preference. What will you have, tea or coffee? What is your preference that way? Like the South Indian Mahatma comes to a trip with me to Kedarnath. And he likes rice. He likes to eat rice there. And rice is available in the hills. But I'll tell him, don't eat rice. It's only semi-cooked. You'll have a problem with your digestion. Paratha galo. Okay. I have to walk. I'll eat the paratha. He's okay with it. But likes and dislikes will be there. Vyavaharika functioning also is taken into account. No? Well, at least when the student goes and tells them, teach me, you say, who is teaching whom? What is there to be taught? He doesn't say that. He takes the student seriously enough. This is Vyavaharikam. Though some places Mahatmas do have a standing joke. Like in Rishikesh, never ask a Mahatma what is the time. Never ask a Mahatma what is the time. They all have a watch, but they rarely wear it. Okay? They have a watch or a clock or something, they will have. Why? Arey, भिक्षा के लिए time पर जाना है ना. If you go late for the भिक्षा, you won't get भिक्षा. If you go early, you'll have to hang around there. So, they were, but never ask him the time. Why? महाराज जी टाइम क्या? जो तीनों काल अतीत है उसको टाइम से क्या मतलब है? Standard, okay. That is just a way of bringing you back into this thing, the knowledge, that's all, nothing else. Okay. So, the Vyavahara and the Pratibhasika is there for the wise person also. Plus, the Paramarthika is what the wise person is rooted in. And that absolute consciousness, okay. Now, playing the role of a teacher, playing the role of a student, playing the role of a friend, playing the role of a counselor. playing the role of a yatri. कुंभ के लिए जा रहा है. So the Paramarthaka is there. That doesn't mean the Vyavaharika and Pratibhasika is not there. Or vice versa, because Pratibhasika and Vyavaharika is there, the Paramarthika is not there. All the way, all this is there. One being reality, the other two being mithya. One being reality, and the other two being mithya. That means what? All Vyavaharic knowledge is acceptable. No? There are all different perspectives how we look at things. How a physicist will look at the world. How a biologist will look at the world. We are all evolutionary samples, okay? For a biologist, we are all evolutionary samples. No? Or so much of mass of proteins and carbs and everything. Okay. So, hey, perspectives, that's okay. We take the stand on the reality and look at the world. That means this knowledge is always in the background. Foreground is what you are doing right now. Okay. In the background, the knowledge and that limitless consciousness is always there. That means what? I see everything in me, like how now I see everything in Ishvara. I see everything in myself alone. I am the only reality that is there. Everything else, appearance. Okay. One reality, zillions of appearances. One water, zillions of waves. One water underlying the whole thing. One consciousness underlying the whole thing. And then he says, once you are rooted in this knowledge, okay, once you are rooted in this knowledge, he says, na punar moham eva yashasi. You will never get back into delusion. In other words, you will never forget this knowledge. That seems a bit difficult. I studied French for 4 years in college, in school rather. 4 years. 8, 9, 10th and our 11th. So 4 years we studied. Abhi kya yaad hai? Few words. What happened to all the grammatical structure, the heavy conjugation that you studied? Out of sight, out of mind. So can this not happen to the knowledge also? It can happen if you have not read a text for a long time. You may forget the verses. You will say, "Arey, that verse is there in the Gita, no? What is it? 10 years I have not touched the Gita." Then you may forget a particular verse. You will know it is there, but you don't know what exactly. That can happen. A verse can get out of sight, out of mind. Okay. What are all the meditation mentioned in Taittiriya? 2-3 I remember. All the details I don't remember because I have not done it. You don't have to do everything anyway. That can happen. But the knowledge I am consciousness can never go out of sight, out of mind. Why? It's never out of sight. What are you? Consciousness. I am is the fundamental thing. No? Only I am, then everything else is. No? I am is fundamental. No? That's always there in my mind. And what is that? Consciousness. So I am consciousness is never lost sight of. Therefore it cannot get out of sight. If it cannot get out of sight, it cannot get out of mind either. That means it cannot be forgotten. Even under amnesia, it cannot be forgotten. Supposing you meet with an accident. This wise person met with an accident. He forgot who he is, what he is. What's your name? Where are you from? Nothing. But I am consciousness. In fact, he'll behave like a bit of a madman. Because I am consciousness is there, nothing else is there. Language will be there. You don't normally forget language and amnesia. The language that you're maximum at home with, you don't forget. Certain basic knowledge that has gone into you will be there with you. Like if you have been functioning as a doctor for a long, long time, that medicine knowledge also will be there. Certain things will be there like that. Even in amnesia, from what I have seen, cases of that. This knowledge will never be forgotten because never out of sight. He may not remember all the verses, but he'll be able to sit down under a tree and teach in his own way what it is all about. Because he knows the truth. He's seeing it directly. So that's why there are plenty of descriptions. Like in Mahabharata, there's a description of a wise person. He lived under a cart in the marketplace. Complete madcap. Probably something like this happened to him. He lost his memory of it. Vyavahara completely, what he is, but the knowledge was there with him. Yeah. Therefore, he did what he had to survive. Some shelter under a cart. Okay, fine. Ate what the vendors gave him. That's it. Sadhu life, literally. So even under amnesia, you can't forget it. It's a beautiful example, in fact, from what an experience I went through with my Grand Guru. I have told the story quite a few times. Got a call from Coimbatore ashram. Swami Taranandgiri had gone there because he heard Rishikesh ashram used to come and go often because he was in Haridwar. Come and go. Then he heard Swamiji had put up a new ashram. Swamiji was a student. New ashram in Coimbatore, so he went to see it. Swamiji called him, so he went to see it. There, Swamiji was not there. Swamiji had to go to States for a couple of weeks, almost a month. So I get a call from Coimbatore from a friend of mine saying Swami Taranandgiri is under depression. My first reaction was, which idiot made the diagnosis? If someone like Swami Taranandgiri goes into depression, there is no hope for any of us. Okay. He says, but he's sitting quiet, he's non-responsive, he doesn't say anything. I said, have you all ruled out all the physical causes of anything? He says, I'm coming down. Okay. Have you ruled out physical causes? No, we are just heart, this, that, everything is normal. I said, think of what else is possible. So my friend, because under the pressure of that, I have this habit sometimes, a professional I'll put under pressure because then the creative responses will come out. Okay. I put myself also under the same pressure sometimes. Okay. There's only one thing left. We have not scanned his brain and his neck and all. I said, okay, please do that. So I landed up there. In the meantime, they had done this testing. They found that carotid artery was blocked. If your heart artery can get blocked, that also can get blocked. He was a Haryanvi Mahatma. So his devotees would come with Haryana with dabba full of ghee. So every day, morning, evening, roti, he'll apply the ghee and have it. Thoda jada hi hota tha. I mean, he'd go for a walk and everything, but maybe there was not enough to digest all that ghee, because otherwise life is sedentary. No? Then Bhandaras also, some he had to go. When I was staying with him, most of the Bhandaras he would avoid. He would ask me to go instead. The ashram gets an invitation. If I am staying with him, then आप चले जाइए ना भंडारा के. आप जवान हैं, खुद खा सकते हैं. Yeah. At that time I was young anyway. So, with all that food, so they gave him some blood thinner, some clot busting, all that. In about 1 week, 10 days, he started responding. So he asked him, Swamiji, क्या हो गया? बुद्धि काम नहीं कर रहा था. तो मस्तराम होके बैठ गया. If your brain is not functioning, what are you going to do? And it's not functioning because not getting enough blood supply. How can you can't even communicate that, no? If your brain is shutting down, that's why diseases like Parkinson, dementia, etc. is such a big problem because it affects your brain. So when that is being shut down, what do? मस्त राम होके बैठ गया, आनंद में बैठ गया. You could say that because I am Ananda. Equipment is not functioning, so let it not function. If you had waited a little longer, you would have gone into samadhi. So that's what I'm trying to say. Whatever the condition is that you are in, this knowledge is not lost sight of. Punar moham na eshasi.
Swamiji?
Yeah? Shoot.
Just one question, Swamiji.
So shoot.
All these diseases and conditions that we hear of, are they all only at the brain level, is it? So this knowledge, because if it is in the mind, are we saying that anything that happens to the brain that we know of medically, it actually doesn't affect the mind itself, and therefore the knowledge is not lost?
Yes. You are on right track. Because see, in medicine, Western medicine, what we call as mind, they will take it as the information organizing capacity of the brain. So for them, brain and mind are not separate. But in the same Western medicine, if you look at psychology looks at mind and brain as different. We also look at it as different. The modern example I give is software and hardware. So if your computer or your laptop has a hardware issue, the software is not going to function. But the software will have, you remove the software, put it into something else, it will work. So same way here, the mind has the knowledge. That's why even people suffering from dementia, etc., you think they are going to carry the dementia into the next lifetime? Let us say he had dementia and he died. So next lifetime also dementia will be there. That dementia is a brain problem. It's not a mind issue. Now if there is a psychological issue, certain fear, phobia, etc., that can be carried forward because that is there in the mind. That is there in the mind. People are sometimes, from childhood, they have some phobias, isn't it? You have seen this thing. So those phobias are there in the mind, not in the brain. Yeah, because I have helped people to handle that through past life regression and things like that, identifying where that phobia came from. It's only in these cases I will do a past life regression or something. Because a phobia that cannot be answered because of childhood trauma and things like that, now where does that come from? I mean, generally I found there is some previous lifetime issue. So that awareness itself, half the problem is solved. Where the fear came from. Really, half the problem is solved. The other half, psychological process, easy. Because now you know where that is from. Previous lifetime, it's much easier then. Now I'm okay. No? Someone after the experience like that came in, I'm ashamed of what I did in my last lifetime. I said, you're ashamed only of last lifetime, no? Not this lifetime. There are plenty of us here who are ashamed of what we did in this lifetime. Okay. So you're fine, don't worry. How much guilt in this we are going to carry here? Last lifetime also you have to carry over. Bad enough you have to go through the karma phala. Emotional nonsense also you have to carry. Not worth it. Karma phala, fine. Accepted. I'll accept it. ठीक है यार. Previous lifetime some karma I have done. This lifetime I have to go through it. Accept it. But why guilt, shame, all that thing, why should I carry forward? That can be negated, no? So there is where the thing is. A physical issue like that will not. And mentally you cannot forget this knowledge. Why? Because I consciousness is right there in the mind. Consciousness manifests right there in the mind. How can it be out of sight for you to forget it? What if there is a psychological trauma? Brain trauma is different. What about psychological trauma? What psychological trauma do you expect for one who's rooted in the knowledge I am consciousness happen? I am not that mind, I am not that body. What is the trauma that can happen? Oh, you go through a battle and all the death and destruction. It's a big problem in the Western world. All soldiers are diagnosed of suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Most of the soldiers are. Veterans have that. Look at our Indian soldiers, they don't have it. And I'm telling you, they have gone through equally bad experiences, if not worse. The equally bad experiences they have gone through. They don't have it. Why? Simple Ishvara Jnanam, number one. Number two, when they go back to the village on a holiday, etc., family support is strong. That bhakti is strong and family support is strong. That's enough for them to handle it. Now, if bhakti helps you to handle it, that's what helped me to handle whatever I went through. Some little bhakti that you had, little understanding. Ishvara has material cause, efficient cause, nothing more than that I knew. That was enough for me to handle it. Then what? After that, when you're rooted in knowledge, what trauma? Trauma kya hota hai? You'll ask that. What is this thing called trauma? Yeah, what is the big thing? What if you lose a hand or a leg? That's the example we give in Viveca Chudamani. Just because you lost a hand doesn't mean that's affecting you, it's only affecting your body, etc. That's the example we are given in Viveka Chudamani. So, big deal. So, trauma, etc. Trauma is a response. Understand this. Trauma is not in the situation. Trauma is a response to that situation. Stress is not in the situation. Stress is a response, physiological and psychological response to what has happened. To some trigger point, some situation. Situation exists. Everyone does not respond the same manner. That's why I look at it. You look at the Gita itself. Arjuna, before this knowledge, when he looked at the fact he'll have to kill his kith and kin, how did he respond? Oh my God, how can I do this? Drona, not a great wise person. He was exposed to this knowledge, but he was not a wise person in that sense of the word. When he surveyed what he saw, both sides are full of his students only. Yeah? Every prince at that time has passed through his school at some time or the other. Every warrior there at some time or the other sat in Drona's school. And he is looking at both sides. Both sides are my students. Let us see how my students fare in this greatest challenge of the times. Let us see how my students fare. That was not a stressful situation for him. Even though death of your own students is like death of your own child. But he didn't look at it like that. So, warriors. Warriors, the ultimate warrior is Veera Swarga. Anyway, you are going to die early. You want to live to become old? What is that? Buddha banne ka? Be old and infirm? No warrior wants that. So for him it was not stressful. For Bhishma it was not stressful. All are his grandchildren. Why? He was rooted in this knowledge. Bhishma was rooted in this knowledge. Are you getting the idea? The three levels of function. One a purely professional view, so it is not traumatic. One rooted in this knowledge. He was not happy with the fact that his children and grandchildren are fighting each other. Okay, great grandchildren. Abhimanyu etc. was great grandchild. Like, yeah, that's not a happy situation. Yeah, but had to be done. Had to be done. Done. So even a stressful situation, but for that you have to be rooted in this knowledge. That's important. You can say, I studied 6 chapters of the Gita, now I am rooted. If you are rooted, great. Most people aren't. Okay. To be rooted in the knowledge. Then there's no issue. No big deal. Whatever happens. Na punarmoham eva yasasi ye pandava. You will not get degraded again. Yeah, sure.
Swami, regarding the rootedness in the knowledge, as seekers, when we meet certain Swamijis or Swaminis, I've always wondered whether it's taboo to ask two things. One is, are they rooted in the knowledge? And the second is about their Purvashrama. I mean, I'm not sure whether I should even talk about this. Could you please help me?
See, rootedness we generally don't ask, because either he'll say yes or no. Either way you have to believe what he says. So there is no clear-cut answer. So for the rootedness, generally we don't ask because of this. Because you just have to take it word value. Supposing he says, nahi yaar, hum to mamuli sadhu hai. I'm just a simple. Then you'll start wondering, can I learn from him, not learn from him, ye kya hai? Supposing he says, yes, it's rooted. And you will see a behavior in him which in your mind is not in harmony with that. Then also you start scratching your head. Because if he is an unconventional person like me, people will definitely scratch their heads. I was very lucky. I was just myself in that camp. And luckily in the camp, they found that my natural behavior, fooling, joking around and being a friend, said, my God, this man has to be rooted in the knowledge. Most people thought like that. So there's one lady who stopped attending my class. I didn't bother to ask why. She didn't bother to come and tell me why. I didn't bother to ask why. Revade. Yeah. So that is why we don't ask that question. Not anything else. Not because of that. Purvashrama, see, for many people, they come from very, very different backgrounds. Some of them may have had even problematic backgrounds before they became sannyas. So the thing is, you're making a cut from the past, chopping it off. Therefore, they say, Rishi Moolam, don't ask Purvashrama. But there are plenty of us. We have shone the light of this knowledge on all our past deeds, and we are comfortable with it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, we are all comfortable. Some people just avoid it. They say, ho gaya na, it's over, done with, don't talk about it. Some people say, oh, we have looked at the whole thing, I'm comfortable talking. I personally am comfortable talking about everything. My teacher was. Personally, one-to-one, he was very comfortable talking. Though publicly sometimes he would joke about it. Like on his Shatabhishekam, this was this journalist. He said, Swamiji, can I play a game with you? Started asking him all sorts of questions. And he answered all of them. Okay, public. There are some 5,000 people in the audience. Okay. He said, Swamiji, have you seen any movies in your Purvashram? Of course. Bhatta Kuchela. As we have not seen any other movie. Okay. We have discussed movies. So that was as a joke, you say. Because if you have this thing, there is no problem. Some people may not prefer not to talk about it. I think it helps people to talk, if I talk about it. Therefore, I talk. Some people may say, why to bother about all that? Don't talk. Okay, that's personal. So that is the only thing. some of us, we have a large public self, the private and public self. This theory is always there. No? Your public self is what you show to the public. Private self is what you know, others don't know. Your public self, you know, others also know. Then public, private. Then what is that? Hidden self. What you don't know, what others also don't know. Now that is minimalistic for a wise person. Maybe there, some habit or something may be there which he doesn't, not fully aware of something. Probably. Yeah. Highly unlikely, but okay. So, the public self for some of us is very large. For me it is always large, not an issue. For some, they don't want to make it so large. Everyone will have something which is private. Especially your connection with some people and all, you don't want to create any harm for them or discomfort for them. So certain things will keep private. Certain things are done for the government, etc. Naturally, I'll keep it private. So that will be there. But otherwise, my past, etc. Comfortable talking about it. Some are not. That's okay. That's just personal choice. Yeah. So whom to ask what will depend upon how you estimate they are comfortable with. And ask them whether you are comfortable talking about it. Yeah. Like everything I know about Puja Swamiji is what I know from him. A lot of things he would talk and say. Yeah. So that's how they say normally, oh, Purvashrama, etc. Because it may affect you, Okay. I met a batchmate of mine 2 weeks back. I had not met him after 76. After I joined the ashram in 1976, I have not met him. Okay. Then I happened to run into him. Almost 50 years. Okay. We are youngsters doing our marine engineering, and now we are both old men. Okay. He has got children and grandchildren also. So he said, you impacted me even when you were a batchmate. And I was shocked by something you said in one of the class. I said, what were you shocked by? I listened to one of your YouTube where you said you had a girlfriend. I said, yeah, I had a girlfriend. Correct. I was shocked at it. I said, why? Because you impacted me so much. Okay. I did not booze. I said, did I tell you not to drink? I don't say anyone not to drink. I leave it to their choice. I did not smoke. I said, hey, come on, as trainees. Yeah, as trainees we used to take up because peer pressure was on. After that I gave it up. Then I did not go with any other girl. My father said, marry this girl, and I married that girl. I said, you're a disgrace for a sailor. What is this? No, for him it came as a big revelation. He never thought somebody like me would have a girlfriend. But that opened up his mind, so this is positive. But for someone else, maybe, oh my God. Like, why didn't I take a class in Chambur for a long time? Because all the people have seen me roaming around with some girl or the other, or getting into some mischief or something like that, They'll say, yeah, who will we learn from this guy? So only how those guys are gone, they won't attend my class now. They are not in a position to attend my class. Those are 10 years older than me. Only after that I started a class. That is because they can't relate. Some people think, no, exactly. He has seen life, therefore I can relate. He has seen life, therefore you can relate. Some people want the other way around. Oh, he is such a clean, pure person. Character has not seen life. Pariksha Lokan kidhar se aaya? The Shastra says, no, Upanishad Munduka says, Pariksha Lokan, after having examined life, he walks away. But yeah, the orthodoxy wants the cleanness, so they believe in all that. Oh, what? Atma is Nitya Shuddha. What are you talking about? Body anyway is a mess. Mind is a mess, you have to set it right. Mind is a mess, you have to set it right. So, Purvashrama, etc. will depend upon this, how it goes. Yeah. I believe in today's world that more open approach is better. Okay. But there may be people who will get uncomfortable with some of that. Yeah, maybe get uncomfortable because see, I can understand if they are uncomfortable with that. If today I am behaving like Osho, that if you are uncomfortable, I can respect that. Because that's not a wise person's behavior. It's not something that when I was young I had multiple partners and things like that. Even if I had, what's the problem? Past, na? Ho gaya, na? Done with, na? I never did it. Yeah. I was clean. There's a certain sense of loyalty, exclusivity, etc. was there. But even if it was not there, what's the problem? Over and done with, na? That took care of your growth, that made you what you are. And what you are is great. So what's the problem then? So those are, as long as dharma is followed, you're not hurting people, this, that, etc. It's fine. Yeah. Even in the past, I'm saying. Yeah. Ayo, this person is such a nice Brahmin boy, very cleanly brought up. He'll make a good Vedanta. And this guy, God, he was a soldier here, he has killed people. Yeah, so what is Bhishma? Ruthless. Nobody has killed so many people as Bhishma has killed. Okay, 1 battalion every day, 1 Akrauni, 1 lakh every day went off. That didn't make him any less. Yeah. So sometimes I provoke those people also who think like that. See, it is not bombarding from a naval vessel, your 18-inch guns, 18-inch diameter, the gun. So a shell is going miles across and exploding. You don't see the people at it. I said, no. With knife and garrote, that's a different thing. Personal. It's highly personal. Ahimsa parmo dharma, himsas dharmo tataiva cha. People forget all this and have their own biases and conclusion. They will never get under, even if they go under great teacher, they will not understand Vedanta because too many bias. Their freedom is not there. Their sattva has become their problem. Instead of tamas can be shackles of iron, sattva can be shackles of gold. But shackle, all right. The shackle is a shackle. Sattva sanjayate sukham. It comes later in the Gita. Sattva also can be a problem. It can bind you. So your sattvic ideas are binding you. So-called sattvic ideas. They are naivety actually. In the name of sattvic, you are becoming naive. You can't afford to be naive in today's society. In any society, you couldn't afford to be. Much more in today's society. Yeah. Okay. Then he says, the next verse is very important in connection with all our discussion that we have had. Apichedasi papebhya sarvebhya papakrit tamaha sarvam jnana planave naiva prajinam santarishyasi. Apichetapi papebhya, among the papis, papakrit tamaha, you are the best among them. Okay, among the papis, you are the best among them. You have done every crime in the book plus some. Okay, of your own speciality. Papakrit tamaha. You are. Okay. Sarvebhya papakrit tamaha. Sarvam jnana plave naiva. Sarvam vrajanam. That whole ocean of papa. Jnana plavena, by this small raft of knowledge. A raft or a skiff is called plava. Not a boat. Not a ship. A small little thing. A skiff, a canoe, or a raft, the raft of knowledge. Sarvam Rajanam Santarishyasi. You cross over the whole thing. Why? How do you say that? Who's the papi? Who's the papi? The one who takes as karta bhokta. Na? The one who takes as karta bhokta, he is the papi. Na? If you understand your pure consciousness, are you karta bhokta anymore? Everything is falsified at one stroke. The whole thing is falsified at one stroke. Where are you? Yeah. That's why we have stories like that, no? Of Valmiki, the Ratnakara, the dacoit, used to kill people just to rob them, becoming a great rishi like Valmiki. All these stories are meant for that. What is Vishwamitra? A ruthless king. Before that. I mean, as a king, he never killed people. He never fought battles. How can you say that? Vishwamitra was not a pacifist. Much less Vasishtha. Both of them have led armies into battle. This is a story in the Veda about the battle of the 10 kings. Yeah. So, and all that, they led armies, they led everything, no issues. Therefore, even if you are the greatest sinner on earth, he says, Papakrit tamaha, jnana plavena vrajanam santarishyasi. With this little raft of knowledge, you cross over the world. Because dharma is a peculiar thing, you know. When you learn about dharma, very often you tend to be absolutist. Take it in absolute terms. That's why in India, dharma was always taught as stories. The stories were case studies actually. For the children, they were stories. For the adults, they were case studies. Always taught like that. Like for example, Rama is praised. Why? He obeyed his father's words. Father said, go to the forest. Kingdom is his to give or not to give. I walk away. He's praised for that. Prahalada, opposite. He's praised for not obeying his father's words. What did he want? Well, the father said, you do whatever you want. Only say, Hiranyakashipu Namaha. Only one thing. Anything else you can do what you want. That's the only thing I will not do. Can you see two opposites? I am talking of Puranic examples only. Yeah, two opposites are presented. Why? To show limitations of both. Following also has some limits, not following also has some limits. The universality of dharma and the limitations of dharma. But when we study, we tend to see it in absolute terms. Therefore, there is always some guilt. I did not do this. Because certain thing you are supposed to do, you could have done it better, no? Anything you can always improve on it better. If you could remember, oh, I should have done that. There is always some regret, some guilt, some this thing coming in. That's what you have to be free from. See, you did the best under the circumstances. Relatively, you have to look at that. I did the best under the circumstances, under the conditions, with my limited resources including what is here inside and what is there in my body. With that, all that, this is the best I could do. I have done it. Krishna Arpanamastu. surrender it to Ishvara. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. Done it. That is relative. But that lingering thing may be there. Therefore, gain the knowledge. Finished. हो गया. You no more karta bhokta. Chidanand Rupo Shivoham Shivoham. और क्या? What is the problem then? What are you looking for? That is why he said, na hanyate hanyamane sharire, etc. in the second chapter. You killed people. Who is the killer? Who is the killed? You are neither the killer nor the killed. All that, why is he saying all that? Why is he saying all that? To make you understand this. So there, the most ghora karma is picked up. Killing. Plus, of course, that's exactly what Arjuna has to do. When the dialogue is over, that's exactly what Arjuna has to do. Battle awaits. So the example is from that standpoint. And for universally, most ghora karma, killing. But he says, so that means what? Guilt and hurt are not supposed to be carried forward. Deal with it, finish with it. Okay, any guilt, any hurt. Oh, my father, I could have looked better. Probably. Lot of things I didn't do, correct? But lot of things you did also. No? Nobody can do everything. You did what you could. Good enough. Relatively get your freedom. If you don't get that relative freedom, that will block you from understanding. So you have to get that, work on that relative freedom, you have to work on it. This is a psychological process. By seeing that you did the best you could. Could have done better, yeah. Could have done worse also. No, but I really feel guilty at it. Okay, do some prayaschitta karma. Plenty are available. Do that. Making up karma, as you call it. And get your freedom, that's the whole idea. Get your freedom from that emotion. Guilt is a very problematic emotion, it distorts your personality. So relatively you deal with it psychologically, religiously. Okay. Religiously, not to become more guilty, okay? There are some religions that manipulate you only through guilt. And some religious teachers also like that. They manipulate you through guilt. No. They address you as sinners. What the hell? Here we say Anagha, etc. Krishna. Sinless. Ulta. Because you are the consciousness, you are free from everything. What are you talking about? This is Vyavaharika. Okay, Vyavaharika, nobody can be perfect. You make mistakes. All right, done. Make amends. Finished. Okay. Then when you are relatively free, then all this knowledge will work, make you absolutely free. You know, there is that old song, जब मैं बिल्कुल बच्चा था बहुत शरारत करता था जब मेरी चोरी पकड़ी जाती रोशनी था बजाज. Now here we are doing it differently. I used to love that ad, you know. Then you'll go, क्या रंगीन जवानी था एक राजा और एक रानी था. Then it goes, रोशनी था बजाज. अब तो बिल्कुल बूढ़ा हूँ गोली खा कर. Again रोशनी था बजाज. That's good ad for Bajaj. Replace that. Now, Roshni is this knowledge. In that knowledge, look at everything. You're free. Roshni is now Atmajnanam. Atmajnanam, look at your childhood mischief, look at your foolishness of your youth, look at the problems of your old age. All the time, Roshni is Atmajnanam. You're free from the whole thing. Free from the whole thing. After that, what? After that, you can have a cup of coffee or kya? Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.